It is a strange friendship, Béranger and Jean. Jean is seemingly a polar opposite, and yet, in a weird way, I guess as polar opposites do, they attract one another.
Well, not everyone can be like you. I can't adjust. I can't adjust to life.
Everybody has to adjust. Or are you saying you're naturally superior?
I'd never say anything like that.
I'm every bit as good as you, and if we're going to speak frankly, I'm in fact better.
I think Béranger, without judging him too much as a masochist, goes to Jean to try and create some kind of order. Well, in the first instance, he goes to Jean, I think, in that first scene, to talk about the problem that's getting worse and worse in the office, to do with Daisy. I probably think that's the reason why he got drunk the night before, why he's in such a state. I mean, for all we know, he might have just slept in a doorway. He's late for meeting Jean, although Jean is also late for him, but that's a side to Jean's hypocrisy which doesn't come out until later. I think it's a difficult relationship. It's not a normal friendship. There's not the normal, but there's not an immediate accord or harmonious sort of symbiotic kind of aiding that goes on. It's quite a destructive friendship. But I think what Béranger holds on to with Jean is the idea that he can give him order, because there is something really adrift. Béranger, his depression is based in the idea that he's incredibly in love with this person, and he has no self-esteem whatsoever, and it's a vicious cycle. And he almost wants to be reprimanded, to be given an objective, to actually have a structure. That's why at the end of that scene he starts to take, well, in the middle of it, he starts to take on Jean's advice and thinking, yeah, well, you're right, actually, I could improve myself. I could spend my time better, spend my money better. I could just basically change my lifestyle and cultivate myself into a man of learning to maybe compete with Duda, this highly qualified fellow colleague at work who is far more suitable for Daisy's affections in Béranger's eyes. And it really kind of takes hold, this idea that he is capable of change, and with Jean at his shoulder and guiding him and even helping him by coming to the cinema or maybe the museum with him, he can do it. And things obviously start to unravel when he's been played a bit for a giddy kipper. I mean, Jean's not doing it on purpose, but he's a bit of a hypocrite. He's not going to go to the theatre or the museum with him. He's off to get drunk with some friends, or have a drink anyway. But that's after making him feel incredibly guilty, which I suspect is partly to do with the fact that he wasn't invited to the party that Béranger went to the night before.
Our friend Auguste? Well, nobody invited me to our friend Auguste's birthday.
But yeah, and I think they've known each other for a long time. And I think it's that thing with friendship that you often, even if it's slightly abusive, you have a need which is driven by an intimacy that's built up over a long period of time. So you just keep gravitating back towards it. It's too strong to escape. And it's a small town. There's not that many other people for him to socialise with.
Well, I asked Benedict to do it a long time ago. Quite a long time ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, beginning of the year.
And the reason... Well, I'd seen Benedict in lots of things and thought he was brilliant and had a real clarity of thought on stage, but I think there was something very important, which is to do with the audience connecting with Béranger as a character, because he goes through the play, he's in every scene. I mean, really, there's 5 minutes he's not on stage, which is really unusual. I mean, even Hamlet has about a quarter of the play off, at least, if not more. And I thought it was very, very important to find an actor that the audience would like. I mean, it really comes down to that. An actor who the audience would want to go with. And I thought Benedict would be the right person for that. And I also I wanted someone of around Benedict's age. And that's partly because it's often cast older, this role. And although we're doing it very much in the period that it was written in, because there are so many codes in the play that are about that time, I think the audience can there's two things. I think the audience can access someone who is a clerk of your age in an office. When they get to be in their 50s, they become other to the audience. And it was really important that they go with him on this. And I also think there's something about the 20-something, early 30s generation that will connect with this play. I think it's a play that is as much about feeling as it is about ideas. And he had a very antagonistic relationship with his father, UNESCO. And all of this was incredibly helpful in understanding who Béranger is, because Béranger is very much based on UNESCO, I think. Very close. I mean, UNESCO is a massive drinker.
You're seeing things. You've been drinking again.
No, I drank yesterday, not today.
And then as a consequence of all your past
I
debaucheries.
promise you I'd stopped. You know I did, because I'm someone who listens to a friend's advice. I don't find that humiliating, just the opposite.
What the hell?
And a depressive.
I suppose you're still cross with me because of yesterday's stupid argument. It's my own fault, I admit that, but that's why I came.
And both of those features, for both of those qualities, feature very heavily in Béranger as a character. Ionesco was an outsider, both in France and Romania. He was born in Romania, but came to France very young, and then he moved back to Romania, came back to France. He was an outsider in both countries, and that experience of the outsider is very much written into the play. And so I think, rather like Oscar Wilde and the English, he had the outsider's view of the French, and he was both living in France and considered himself French, but also was an outsider. And in the play there is that view of French, formal French, small-town society, the codes, the snobberies. The first line of the play is, I'm paraphrasing, the stuck-up one, she doesn't want to shop here anymore, it's the grocer woman. And it's all about that society of small-town France in the 1950s. It is a kind of essence of a world. It's not totally realistic, but it is the essence of a real world that he knew. And that office scene, all of it, he worked in an office just like that for many, many years, so all of those people were observed.
You're in a sorry state, my friend.
A sorry state, you reckon?
Oh, I'm not blind. Look at you. Dead tired, up all night again, yawning your head off, half asleep.
I do feel a bit rough.